I have given a link, later you can watch. It's a 7-minute video. Now here this was commissioned by this study was commissioned by the Armed Forces of USA and of course in Stanford. The objective of the study was to assess the effect, in my words, assess the impact of contextual factors on psychology and behavior of individuals. So the study design was such that two groups would be selected. One group would be given authority, and one group would be made submissive, and then the roles would be reversed at half time. So an artificial prison was created, and half of the boys, I forget the numbers, maybe 12 or 6. 6 boys were made prison guards and 6 were made prisoners. And the boys who were made guards enjoyed their power so much that they committed atrocities on the other group. And finally, a researcher who went for data collection and also the PI of the study was controlling, but he also got so drawn into the study that into what was happening that he forgot his role as a researcher, as admitted by him later on. So this is something, again, lots of discussions have been there. This also prompted, Tuskegee study has prompted guidelines. And this is also one, there is many studies on which we can have discussions on. I'm just drawing your attention to 2 studies where there was a breach of ethics. Now when you look at evolution, there are so many things, I won't go into details, but one was the Nazi experiments during World War II, human experiments. Again, atrocities were committed on human beings in the name of research. And after the Second World War, there was a Nuremberg trial. Have you heard about it? There was a trial, and the recommendations in the judgment are still known as the Nuremberg Code. There are 10 points which we'll look at quickly. Voluntary, informed. I've highlighted the points. Voluntary, well-informed, understanding, consent of the human soul. It's not just consent. Suppose I'm asking you, can I record your weight? Can I record your weight for my study? That's consent. You say, oh, okay, yes, please go. That's consent. But it is different from informed consent. Informed consent, we'll come to it later. Informed consent is giving consent after understanding many nuances which are required. We'll come to those details later. And then there should be some positive results for the society. Society should benefit, as we discussed yesterday. Whatever we do, we do it for the welfare, ultimately for the welfare of the population. And it should be based on previous knowledge that justifies the experiment. There should not be unnecessary physical or mental harm. And also, all these points, risk should be in proportion to the benefits, there should be adequate protection, and the staff who carry out the research should be fully trained, which we even now. So these 10 points guide us even now.
Else? Punctuality, discipline, loyalty, transparency. Okay. So if you look at discipline, punctuality, and loyalty, all these are principles for whom? For yourself or for the community? But 2 are specifically for ourselves. This is partially for both, and this principle which she talked about is basically for community only. Right? We are transparent not because I want to be transparent. Okay? Because I follow the principle, I should be transparent. Why should I hide anything? And why is it so? Because even if we are going to some people and asking them some questions, right? Okay, they will be answering us. What for? Why should then they be transparent? If the principle is not applicable on us, this principle of transparency, then why should it be applicable on the community? वो भी तो झूठ बोल सकते हैं आपके साथ, क्यों ना बोले वो? आप फॉलो करते हो उस प्रिंसिपल को? You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So research में आपको बहुत अच्छे इंसान भी बनाते हैं. Okay, you become very open when you start doing research. Okay. So the first thing is that think about what is my principle. She said that is transparency. So that's fine. Any other? I'll come to what is the generic. Do no harm. You don't want to do anybody any harm. Fair enough. So you would try to be transparent. You will follow many other principles as well if you are thinking like that. Okay. Anything else? Culture sensitivity. So you are culturally sensitive. You respect everybody. Which means you are more on the side of equality. You feel that everybody is equal. So I should not be discriminating on the side. So that is another principle which really helps in when you are talking to community, because even they can discriminate with you because you belong to a different caste, different religion, maybe different state, different district. There are many layers of hierarchy. है ना? Power relationship तो हर जगह पर. तो अगर आप उसको ब्रेक करते हो तो that means that you are going closer to community, right? And you need to be closer to community if you want to really have good data. Whether it is structured questionnaire or unstructured questionnaire, you need good data, and good data can only come if we are more close to community. And we can be more close to community if we are following these principles. These are the ethics which are a compulsion for you. And why these were made? Because we were not following that, right? And I work for public health. So in public health, the basic fundamental is social justice. Okay, so you can see social justice was there also. Right? And another thing is, how can you go for social justice? Because if you don't understand the rights of it. Okay? So in research, many people follow, or even in service provision, they follow right-based approach. Okay? है ना? मैं अपने राइट्स नहीं मुझे पता, तो मैं दूसरों के राइट्स की क्या कदर लूँ? सहना ही होता है, क्या करूँ? We will never promote that this is your right. I'll give you an example. In our system, we have ANMs, we have LHVs, lady health visitors होते हैं. और हमारे पास ANMs भी होते हैं. आप सब जानते होंगे. एक नर्स मिडवाइफ मिलती है आपको गांव के लेवल पे और शहर में भी मिलती है. So I never saw them telling somebody that you can ask for breastfeeding. So I was with my daughter, with the first child, and somebody called her, and she was in Sydney at that time. She called and she said that I will be visiting you and I will talk about ABC, that informs. Okay, she informed. First she took appointment, although she is providing service. We have been trained like service provide करिए, हम तो beneficiary है, ठीक है, हम मान जाए सारी बात, right? But she asked, okay, are you okay with if I come at 5 or what is the comfortable time for you? है ना, हम किसी के घर में भी जाके क्वेश्चन पूछना शुरू कर देते हैं. ये रिसर्च में भी फॉलो होना चाहिए, कल अपॉइंटमेंट ले लो, है ना, हम नहीं लेते. So appointment ली, then she came, she asked, but the first question she asked, I was so impressed. I also videographed her because I was so impressed. She said, okay, this is your first child. Are you having problem with breastfeeding? She said, no, but doctor had already told me in the hospital I'm feeling very comfortable. Do you know that there is a lactation officer for you? She said, no, but I don't need. I don't need to talk to anyone. She did not tell that I myself is a doctor or something. She never talked about it. Then she said, but you know that you are paying for the person? She said, huh? How can I pay? Lactation officer है, तुम्हारा है, मैं कहाँ से pay कर रही हूँ? She said, do you know that you are paying tax? Right? How many of us know this? We don't know and we don't talk. Okay, हम हमेशा कहते हैं कि हमारा हेल्थ सिस्टम जो है वो supply driven है. We are just giving without understanding the needs of people, right? पर needs तो तभी समझ में आएगी जब हम इतनी बातें करेंगे उनके साथ, और हम नहीं करते, है ना? And some people feel it's very difficult to talk with community, right? It is how you approach the community, with which mindset, which principles are you following, right? If you are following the principle of right, if you are following the principle of transparency, you will be very comfortable, because your face itself, because it's these are the gestures on your face which explain what you are, what you want, right? So some people have that kind of knack. They will go and people will start looking, okay, tell me this, tell me that, right? They feel so comfortable with you. But if we feel that, oh, I am so and so, and it's okay, very difficult to talk to them, they don't know anything, कभी नहीं मिलेगी, कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं मिलेगी, जो मिलेगी वो भी सही नहीं होगी, ये मैं बता सकती हूँ. Another important question.
Hello, please listen.
The researcher wants to know whether the woman, the adult woman, if she has faced gender inequality in her past and in her early childhood, what effect does that have on her current status, mental health? So the questionnaire which is given to us is a closed-ended questionnaire, and so the responses which we get will be mostly quantitative. So we have tried to modify, and we will be taking some other questions. Some questions which we want to take from the quantitative part are like the basic demographic details, in which we will ask the name and age and the number of siblings which she has. The details of the siblings, like their educational qualification. So this will give us valuable input, like if there is any kind of discrimination in her childhood, like whether she was given equal educational opportunities, whether there has been what is the family size, if the family size, the family continued to grow till a male child was born, that could give us indirect indicators of whether there was any kind of male preference in the family and any kind of discrimination she would have faced. To assess her mental state, we can do a screening kind of a test for the mental health status, as SRQ, random questionnaire. So we can assess the mental health, like whether she is anxious or she is having depression or she is under some stress. For qualitative part, we can ask her, like the questions which we were given were, whom do you share your secrets or thoughts with? So rather than asking these kind of questions, I would like to, when I am conducting an in-depth interview with her, I would like to ask her, like, briefly tell me about yourself. Like, आज हम एक रिसर्च कर रहे हैं, एक शोध कर रहे हैं, और उसमें हम the consent part, which so I'll explain her all the details regarding what is my topic, and I'll give informed consent. I'll inform the participant, and then I'll take her consent, and after consent, suppose she has given the consent, then I will ask her all the basic demographic details. आपके कितने भाई बहन हैं?
हाँ जी, हमें भाई बहन नहीं हैं, हम सिर्फ एक ही
एक है, एक में डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं आएगा. So suppose she says that she has 4 sisters and then 1 brother. So next I'm going to ask her कि अच्छा तो आपके घर में ऐसा मानते हैं कि कितनी बड़ी फैमिली होनी चाहिए, कितने बेटे और कितने बेटियां होनी चाहिए?
हमारे परिवार में ऐसा माना जाता है कि दादा दादी नाना नानी पूरा जॉइंट फैमिली, 2 लड़कियाँ, ज़्यादा लड़के होने चाहिए, लड़कियों से तुलना
ज़्यादा लड़के होने चाहिए. So क्यों आपको कभी अपने बचपन में ऐसा लगा कि लड़का होना जरूरी है? फैमिली में आपके फैमिली वालों को क्यों लगा?
And the discrepancies that we found. First question was, has COVID-19 increased violence against women in India? This is a very generalized and very vague, and I think we should never start with such a question in the first place. And it is always mandatory that we proceed from a more formal towards then personal, go towards the personal questions. So we have formulated the first question as the introduction, which we will show you in a short while, the interview, how we have taken the interview. So the first question should be, according to us, is
आप शुरू कर दीजिए, उसी से पता लग जाएगा. In the
Okay,
interest of time,
okay, fine.
just in the interest of time, you
Then,
use
I will
use what you have prepared now.
we will not comment on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
Use your own.
So this is again a mixed method kind of research in which this is again a mixed method kind of a research in which we will collect some quantitative data with regards to the nature of the work, the working hours, what was the time period in which they were working from home also, because they will tell us. Then average hours spent on meetings, or if they have spent per week. And then we will also ask quantitative, similar quantitative data like will be generated, like let's say how many extended hours they had to work during those lockdown periods, or was there a gap in which they did not work at all, or they would be like weekends, in weekends also they worked, on weekends also they worked. So that kind of data we will first go into, and then we will talk about the next question will be uh, has the okay, has work, the responsibilities during this time period increased? If you feel that your responsibilities during this time period is increased, and does the COVID-19 affect your family's economy? And the second last question will be talking about, have you experienced any domestic violence or any form of domestic violence during the this time period? So we will specify that time period in the research question also and in the title also. And at the end, we will assess the mental health score. We will administer either a DAS score, DAS 21 score, or some standardized scale we will use, so that we can quantify the depression, anxiety, and stress components of mental health. Then probably those who have been detected to have higher scores, we will pick up those. We will not randomly select them. We will pick all the women who are suffering from higher scores, DAS scores, and then we will subject them to in-depth interviews. So this is our plan. So, okay, we can, if time permits, we can
Just
show you the.
four questions you can ask.
Oh, and she would be the working woman.
So, hello, you all good?
Yeah, hi, I'm Vaishali.
Okay. So, I'm from a research institute. Basically, हम एक स्टडी कर रहे हैं कोविड-19 जो कि लॉकडाउन हुआ था अभी, उसकी वजह से एक जो काम करने वाली औरत है जो घर से ही काम कर रही है, उस पर क्या क्या इफेक्ट हुआ, तो हम एक स्टडी कर रहे हैं. इसके बाद जो भी इसके रिजल्ट होगा हम उसको अप्लाई करेंगे आपके अच्छे के लिए भी और पूरे मतलब जो कम्युनिटी है उसके लिए. तो हम थोड़े 2-3 क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे आपसे, तो अगर आप जवाब दे सकते तो प्लीज कंफर्टेबली जवाब दे सकते. तो हम बेसिकली स्टार्ट करेंगे कि आपका प्रोफेशन क्या है.
Actually, I'm a software engineer. I'm working at Accenture since
ओके, तो बेसिकली आपकी जॉब का टाइम पीरियड क्या होता है? इट इज इन 8 आवर्स जॉब और 9.
Yeah, it is an 8-hour job. I guess before lockdown, definitely it was an 8-hour job. But हाँ जब से lockdown हुआ है, सब चीजें work from home पे shift हो गई है, तो yes, you can say that it has been stretched till 11 hours
Okay,
or 10 hours.
basically in only hours or you have to work in weekends also.
Yeah, I do have to work on weekends also. क्योंकि अब वही हो गया ना, मैनेजर को ये नहीं कह सकते कि बाहर जाना, क्योंकि लॉकडाउन लग गया है. एवरीवन वाज देयर, तो कुछ ना कुछ चीजें स्ट्रेच हो रही है, मीटिंग्स एक्स्ट्रा हो रही है.
तो मतलब आपकी जॉइंट फैमिली है या आपकी न्यूक्लियर फैमिली?
नहीं, आज इज अ न्यूक्लियर फैमिली.
knowledge regarding COVID-19 vaccination, तो उसके साथ regarding knowledge regarding COVID-19 as well as the vaccination and what are the factors that might have led to non-vaccination among the participants of the basically the interview, वो हमें पता करना चाहिए. तो it will be like a in-depth interview के तरह मुझे लगता मतलब हमें लगा कि होना चाहिए, जहाँ पे as well as identifying the various reasons हम उनको ये भी बता रहे हैं कि जो जो बैरियर्स है उसको कैसे सॉर्ट आउट किया जा सकता है और हाउ द इश्यूज कैन बी एड्रेस्ड.
Just coming.
Please of the participants regarding COVID-19, her attitude regarding COVID-19 and the COVID-19 vaccination, the reason for which she might or might not have taken the vaccine, and other than doing the interview, also give her the adequate knowledge so that if any behavioral change is required, that can be done. Or why should she take the
What is it
COVID-19
known
vaccine?
as? कि ड्यूरिंग द इंटरव्यू मैं उसको नॉलेज भी दूंगा. जनरली वी डोंट डू दिस, पर ये एक टेक्निक है. व्हाट इज दिस टेक्निक?
Behavioral change communication.
It's motivational interview. Okay, motivational interview means that you are trying to now motivate the person either by just giving knowledge or changing attitude. Whatever you want to do, you can do within that, but then it becomes interactive. चलिए.
हम वेरियानी मेडिकल कॉलेज से आ रहे हैं और आपसे कुछ कोविड-19 के विषय में कुछ आपसे जानना चाहते हैं. आपका मतलब क्या नाम? रुबीना जी, तो फिर आप ऐसे क्या कुछ काम करते हैं या हाउस वाइफ करते हैं?
मैं घर पे पर्सन होती है.
अच्छा, तो आपके घर में कितने लोग हैं? घर में और भी कोई कमाने वाले लोग हैं? आपके हस्बैंड कुछ कमाते हैं?
नहीं, मेरा आदमी कुछ नहीं करता है. 4 बच्चे हैं. नहीं करती है.
वो सिर्फ आप ही अकेला काम पे जाते हैं. बेसिकली घर के जितने सारे मतलब खर्चे वगैरह सब आप ही को संभालना पड़ता है. वैसे आप वैसे लगभग आप कितना कमा लेते हैं महीने में?
महीने का 8 से 10 हज़ार.
8 से 10 हज़ार. और घर में आपके 5 लोग? 6 लोग.
मुझे भी लगता है.
आपको लेकर 6 लोग हैं आपके घर में और बाकी आपके बच्चे. तो रुबीना जी, मैं ये पूछना जानना चाहता था कि आपको कभी कोविड-19 के बारे में पता है कि कोविड-19 क्या होता है उसमें? क्योंकि आजकल मतलब कोविड-19 के बारे में हर जगह फैला हुआ है. बाकी सरकार भी बहुत सारे मैसेजेस या इन्फॉर्मेशन सर्कुलेट करते हैं, बहुत सारे टीवी पे रेडियो पे एड्स वगैरह भी आते हैं. तो क्या आपको पता है कि कोविड-19 क्या होता है?
हाँ, मुझे पता है. मैंने सुना है रेडियो पे भी और मैं फोन में भी देखी है. बुखार आता है, सर्दी जुकाम होता है.
तो क्या आपको कभी हुआ है ऐसा पिछले 6 महीने में या पिछले 1 साल में ऐसा कुछ?
अभी 5-6 महीने में तो
नहीं हुआ. आपके घर में कभी किसी को ऐसा हुआ है?
नहीं.
घर में भी नहीं हुआ. आपने क्या कोविड-19 का टीका लगवाया है, जिसके बारे में भी वो बहुत प्रचार किए जा रहे हैं कि कोविड-19 का टीका लगाना चाहिए या ऐसा कुछ?
टीका तो अभी मैं कैसे लगाएगी, वो तो इतना महंगा रहता है ना. वो इतना नहीं कमाने वाली है और कोई नहीं है.
नहीं, रुबीना जी, वैसे कोविड-19 का टीका तो मुफ्त में मिल रहा है, तो वो भी मतलब सबको बताया जा रहा है. कोई भी नजदीकी अस्पताल में जाके आप कोविड-19 का टीका लगवा सकते हो डॉक्टर से कंसल्ट करने के बाद.
तो फिर उसको लगाने के बाद अगर मेरे को कुछ हो जाएगा तो फिर मेरा घर कैसे चलेगा?
नहीं, आपका
मुझे बुखार हुआ, मुझे कोविड हो गया, फिर मेरा तो कैसे चलेगा? मैं क्यों बताऊं?
लेकिन आपको मतलब ये समझना चाहिए, जैसे अगर आपको भले ही नहीं हुआ है अच्छी बात है, लेकिन अगर होता है तो उससे जो 1 हफ्ता या 10 दिन अगर कहीं पे आपको जाना पड़ जाए, वैसे तो छोटे मोटे बुखार वगैरह होते रहते हैं, लेकिन कोविड-19 होने से 1 हफ्ते के लिए आपको दिक्कत हो सकता है. और अगर बहुत सीवियर केस हुआ, बहुत कुछ केस में अगर गंभीर हो गया तो पेशेंट को हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट भी होना पड़ता है. तो आप देखिए, जैसे आपके घर में 10,000 रुपये सिर्फ आप ही अकेले कमाने वाले हैं, है ना? तो अगर आप वहाँ पे हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट होना पड़ गया या फिर आप कोविड की वजह से अगर आप काम पे नहीं जा पाए, तो आपको कितना नुकसान होगा. और दूसरा, जैसे मैंने बोला, आप सोच रहे थे कि जैसे कोविड का टीका मतलब महंगा होगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. आप फ्री में जाके अपने नजदीकी सरकारी अस्पताल से लगा सकते हैं।
सरकारी अस्पताल में फिर मेरे को छुट्टी लेना पड़ेगा।
छुट्टी के आप क्या रोज जाते हैं काम करने के लिए? काम
एक दिन का छुट्टी होता है मेरा बस।
थैंक यू। ओके, एनी कमेंट्स? ओके, आप कह रहे थे इसको हम क्वालिटेटिव करना चाहेंगे इन डेप्थ, पर जो आपने किया है वो मोर ऑफ क्वांटिटेटिव था। क्वालिटेटिव इसलिए लिखा कि उसके पास कोई स्पेस नहीं था, जो आपने लिखा, राइट? इसके दो एस्पेक्ट हो सकते हैं जो मेरे मन में आया, वो ये है कि पहले आप क्वांटिटेटिवली देख लो कि कितने लोग हैं जिन्होंने वैक्सीन लगवाई थी, ठीक है? फिर आप ये डिजाइन करो कि अच्छा इनको अगर हमें करना है तो मैं क्या इंटरवेंशन करूँ। तो इंटरवेंशन आपने जो चूज करी वो अच्छी थी एंड इट इज मोटिवेशनल। मैं जाऊंगा, पता कर लूंगा, मतलब आप कंबाइन कर सकते हो जैसे आपने किया था, कंबाइन कर सकते हो, बट बेस्ट डिजाइन वुड बी दैट यू डू फर्स्ट क्वांटिटेटिव सर्वे और जिनका नहीं है उनको मोटिवेशनल इंटरव्यू दो और फिर बाद में देखो कितना मिलेगा। दैट विल बी वेरी गुड। बट इफ यू विल कंबाइन द टू इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर यू टू हैंडल इट, राइट? तो पहले आप एक अपनी कम्युनिटी में एक सर्वे कर लो कि कितने लोग हैं जिन्होंने नहीं लगवाया, ठीक है? और रीजन अगर जानना चाहते हो तो जान लो थोड़े से रीजन, और उसके हिसाब से अपना मोटिवेशनल इंटरव्यू तैयार, राइट? नॉट दैट एवरीबॉडी नीड्स की प्रॉब्लम है, नॉट एवरीबॉडी इज हैविंग लार्ज फैमिली साइज, देयर माइट बी मेनी अदर रीजन, राइट? व्हिच प्रोबेबली समटाइम्स जब आप इंटरव्यू करते हो बताते नहीं, कि उनका जो ट्रस्ट लेवल है ऑन द सिस्टम दैट इज वेरी लो, है ना? उसको भी निकालना है ना? अगर आप सीधा वहां तक चले गए और उसको खुश करने लगे कि तुम डटे लगवाओ, ठीक है? दैट इज नॉट मोटिवेशनल, है ना? हमें ये पता होना चाहिए कि हमारा सिस्टम कितना सपोर्ट कर रहा है। मान लो किसने नहीं कहा, दूसरी औरत आती है वो कहती है हाँ जी मैं गई थी 2 बार जा आई हूँ, है ना? वहां तो लाइन इतनी लंबी होती है, मेरा सारा झटका छूट जाता है, राइट? तो फिर आप क्या कहोगे, है ना? इसका मतलब यू हैव टू वर्क विद द सिस्टम। सो फर्स्ट यू नीड टू नो कि फैक्टर्स कौन से हैं। तो जो फैक्टर्स हैं, अगर कम्युनिटी लेवल पे मुझे काम करना है तो मुझे ये करना है, मोटिवेशनल इंटरव्यू इन चीजों पे देनी है। बाकी जो है मुझे सिस्टम लेवल को तैयार करना है कि हाँ भाई नर्स को जाके बता रहे हैं कि यहाँ के लोगों ने काम लगवाया है, तो जब तुम्हारे पास आए तो तुमने ये करना। आप समझ गए? योर इंटरवेंशन विल बी एट 2 लेवल, वन एट द सिस्टम, वन एट द पार्टिसिपेंट, मतलब कम्युनिटी लेवल। तो फिर आप दोनों को मैच करोगे तो आपका आगे काम चलेगा, ठीक है? देन यू कैन प्रूव ओके व्हेन आई डिड दीस टू थिंग्स देन इट हैपेंड। नहीं तो आप क्या करोगे, आपने इसको तो कर दिया, वहां तैयार ही नहीं था सिस्टम। दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंड विद आवर इंस्टीट्यूशनल डिलीवरीज एक्चुअली, ठीक है? एकदम से जब प्रेशर गया तो हमारी माएँ जो है ना, वो ना घरों में मरी ना अस्पतालों में मरी, कहाँ जाके मरी पता आपको? रास्ते में।